Hey everyone, we just released a small update that nobody expected, but it actually turned out pretty big, and I'm going to tell you everything about it. It's going to be an update for the Commander and for the S3XY Knob, but if you don't want to watch the entire video and you're only interested in the item that you own, make sure to go down inside the description and check the timestamps. So the first thing I want to talk about is the new Commander update. But before that, let's check out the S3XY app. If you have not downloaded the latest version, make sure to go inside your app store and download it because it's essential. And if you see this new tab right here, this is what we've been working on. Right now, if there is a new update, you're going to see this row. And if you click on it, it's going to tell you what needs to be updated and what's not. So basically, if I go here, I see I have a new Commander software version and I can update right from here. But because Tesla recently released a new update called 2024.14, it changed the logic of how the wipers work inside Tesla. So right now, if I press on the wipers, as you can see, the mechanics are a little bit different and we had to adjust to that. If you are owner of the S3XY buttons or the S3XY Knob, you might experience that they do not work for the past couple of weeks as intended, and we fixed it with this update. And because we know that only about 57% of you have downloaded the latest Tesla software version, we have decided to leave 2 Commander firmware updates for you, for those that have not installed the new software version of Tesla and those who have it. So let me tell you which Commander version is for you. So if your Tesla is not on the latest software version, the one that has these controls of the wipers, then you should just go straight into the software update tab and update wherever it says here. So Commander version 4.5.4 is the right for you. But if your Tesla has the latest software version, which is 2024.14 or later, then you need to unlock a secret firmware that we created for you. So let me show you how to do this. Go inside the S3XY app, go inside the Commander tab, then on the top right, there's a scroll wheel, and when you tap on it, there's a beta firmware version toggle. You need to enable it, and that's how you're going to unlock a secret Commander version, which is called 4.5.5. With it, your controls of the wipers through the buttons and through the knob are going to be fixed. Again, it sounds a little bit complicated, but we know only about 55% of you have the latest Tesla version, so we had to release 2 versions of our Commander so all of the gadgets are working properly for you. So I want to repeat this once again, and you can also read it in our blog post. If your Tesla is not on the latest software version, the second big improvement we did with this new Commander update is seen inside the horizontal version of the dashboard. You might already seen that we have these bars right here on the side that you can watch different stats like your front motor performance, like the state of charge, the remaining capacity of your battery. But a lot of you said, I want to customize it the way I want to look at it. And that's what we did. Right now, if you press and hold on it, there's going to be a pop-up that you can change into any other different stat that you want to watch. Let's say on the top right, I want to watch my cell minimum temperature, and I can assign that. And I can do this with all these status bars right here in the horizontal version of the dashboard. So basically, you can look at it as it's a newer version of our Stats for Nerds from our OG Dash. And I hope a lot of you are going to be impressed and geeky with this feature. We have done a lot of small improvements and bug fixes with this new update, which you're going to love, but amazing new features for it are going to come in August. So make sure to tune in then and the next thing I want to talk about is the new knob update, which is called 4.5.3. A lot of you who are already knob users are going to be extremely pleased with it because we added so many of the S3XY buttons features to the knob, something that tons of you have emailed us asking why those features are not in. Guys, it's not as easy as you might think, but as you can see with this update, we are working every single month to be adding new features to this beautiful unit. So let me show you what's new and let me show you how everything works. The first thing you might notice is that currently I have 5 pages set up for the knob. Before this, you can only have up to 3, but a lot of you ask for more, so we added 2 extra pages, which makes total of 25 actions that you can assign to your sexy knob, which is crazy. I don't even know what you're gonna do with so many actions, but now you have the options for that. We added a lot of features to this update, and one of them is control of the AC unit. Right now, if I press on this button here, I can turn off the AC and I can turn it back on just by pressing the button like this. Again, I'm not talking about the entire HVAC system that you turn on and off just like that. I'm only talking about this AC unit here. And some of you might not know yet, but features of the knob are not still reflected as a control on the Tesla main screen, but we have been working on this for the past month, and we actually unlocked 2 features now that you can synchronize between the knob and the main screen. How do you do this? Just make sure to go inside the knob tab, inside the Sexy app, and on the top there is a login button. Once you go in, you're going to be able to follow these steps and log in to the Tesla cloud server, which is going to synchronize a few of the features. And we're going to be adding more and more synchronization between the knob and the Tesla main screen in the future. But for now, the AC unit is not synchronized. Another feature we added is the recirculation mode. When I go in, I can change it from off to on and even set it to auto, so the car decides when this feature needs to be active and when not. And the last feature we added to the climate control is the defog defrost option. So right now if I go inside, it's turned off, but I can set it to on or even to max depending on what I want to do with the vehicle. So let's turn it off, go back, and now let's go on the second page to see what other actions we have added. So right here I have the new controls for the headlights and the fog lights. So right now if I press on this button here, I can enable my low beams and I can turn them off just like that. I can do obviously the same thing with the button right here, which is the high beams. I'm flashing them and I turn them off. These buttons right here, I set them to control my front and my rear fog lights. So once I enable it, obviously the second press is going to disable it, and we actually have a third option that I have not set up here, which is going to allow me to turn on my front and the rear fog lights at the same time. Now some of you might not know, but the fog lights in Tesla for some reason are always trying to stay off, so we are fighting it for a couple of months now, and on some models this feature might cause slight blinking of the fog lights from time to time. Don't get panicked, we're working on this, and once we find a solution, we're going to release an update. Until then, they're working just normally, but on every couple of minutes, there's going to be a little blink from time to time. Now let's go on page 3 and see what I have set up here. Now the icon on the top left might look familiar, but I actually changed it. Right now, this thing is going to do the dimming of my mirrors. And if I press again, it's going to go back to the default state. Now, don't get confused. This action only works when the weather conditions outside require dimming of the mirrors. So you're not going to be able to use it in a sunny, bright day, but rather when it's a little bit darker outside. On the bottom, I have assigned the tilt mirror action, which is going to be working only when you're reversing backward. So if you're driving forward, you're not going to be able to use that feature, just as it's done inside your vehicle as well. On the top right, I have assigned an action which is opening and closing the charge port of your vehicle. There is one cool thing about this action here, and it's that if I have a non-Tesla charger plugged in the charge port, when I press this button right here, it's just gonna unlock the charge port for me, and then I can unplug it and just go back into my normal driving. Let's go on the next page and see what's here. Now on this page, I have 2 features that a lot of the Sexy Buttons user went crazy about, and a lot of the Sexy Knob users were complaining why this feature is not available for them. This is the traction control option of how to stop your front or your rear motor. So if you go inside the application and you select one of the features, what you need to do is go inside the traction control options, which are right here. Then scroll down on the bottom and you're going to see 2 new features: disable front motor and disable the rear motor. So once you choose that, here how they're going to be displayed on the knob. So when I press on this button right here, I'm going to turn the car into a front wheel drive by disabling the rear motor, which you can actually see right here in your notification status. So nothing to worry about. This is not breaking your vehicle. This is allowing your long range model to become a performance model in a way. So because the performance models are those that are allowing you to disable the front or the rear motor, but the long range models are not allowed to do that. We give you that option. So the two main important things you need to know is that first, when you enable this feature, you need to do it from a park position. So if I want to go back right now into a all-wheel drive, I just press on the button and this warning has disappeared, as you can see. And the second thing you need to remember is that if you're worried about if anything is going to happen to your motor, just make sure that you're going to be using our sexy application to watch the performance of your motors and to watch what's the temperature of that motor that's actually working. If it stays below 90 degrees Celsius all the time, that's perfectly fine with it. But if it starts going a little bit higher, which is going to happen, I don't even know when, because nobody has reported this thing, you just need to stop for a few minutes, give it a little break so you can cool off, and then continue your journey. So nothing to worry about. The car is going to perform just as it's intended. Now, obviously with the button, I can disable my front motor and turn my car into a rear wheel drive. But again, this is not a drift mode feature, just an option how you can drive your vehicle in a way that you want it to drive. And let's go on the last page and see what's new here. So here we have 3 brand new submenus that we added with this update. If you do not know what a submenu is, it's a brand new page of actions that you can go in only by pressing one button. So let's say right now on the top left, I have a submenu for controlling my left seat. And if I go inside of it, I can choose any of these 4 actions to be executed with a press of a button. So if I press the top left and the bottom left button, I'm going to be moving the seat forward and backward. And if I press the buttons on the right, I'm going to be tilting the same seat forward and backward. But if I want to do both actions together, I can just turn the knob left and right, and I'm going to be moving and the backrest and the seat forward or backward depending on the position I'm rotating the knob, which I believe it's extremely smart feature. Now when you go back, we have the same thing for the passenger seat as well, which is on the top right side. And if you do not know what this icon is, this is a submenu for the autopilot. So what this does for you is when you go in, there's going to be 5 icons controlling 5 features. The top left is going to enable your autopilot. The second button here is going to bring your car into the max allowed speed by the traffic sign that your car has previously recorded. The buttons on the bottom are controlling the left and the right turn signals, and the dial itself, when you turn it, you increase or decrease the speed of your autopilot either by 1 or 5 kilometers per hour depending what you chose from the settings. I believe the autopilot submenu is extremely useful for those that prefer driving only by one hand, let's say only the left one, and never want to reach forward with the right one, but rather prefer resting and keeping it right here on the knob. And I believe it's also going to be very useful for those that use it with the continuous autopilot smart actions that we have. If you do not know what this is, it's a automation that we created with our products that automatically re-engages your autopilot after you do a lane change. So how is this going to work with the knob? Well, it's easy. I'm basically going to drive with my left hand on the steering wheel. My right hand is going to press on the turn signal just to indicate that I'm going to be doing a lane change. Then I'm going to brake the autopilot by turning to one of the sides. And once I go into the lane next to me, the autopilot is going to re-engage. And again, if you have not heard about this feature yet, make sure to watch our video on the top right side of this video, which is going to tell you a little bit more about it. As you can see, we have added so many new features, but that's not even all. We added also the hazard light option to the knob, the stopping mode. You can change between creep, hold, and roll, even if your car doesn't allow you to do that. And we also added the turn signals as a separate action that you can use it outside of the submenu that I just showed you in a second. And I'm not sure if you also noticed, but during the entire video, I was rocking the white color LED light, which a lot of you have emailed us asking us about. We didn't even expect so many people to want this, but here you go. We added it for you, so I hope you enjoy it. By the way, go down inside the comments of this video and tell us what do you think about this update. Do you like what we've done with it? Do you want to see something extra? And as you see, we're always trying to upgrade all of our products. So if you have any suggestions, shoot us an email or shoot us a message. We're always going to respond to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you soon again.